nice. Kristen is so nice. And that's a Wisconsin thing. I think northern nice is a thing that I discovered up there. Like they're kind of nice though. It's like there's an ominous darkness underneath it, right? Like they'll hold the door for you, but the whole time you can tell they're just thinking about fucking murdering you. You know? They're smiling, but you see the axe in their eyes. Like I'm pretty sure ope is just another way of saying, well, now you're on my list. And, this is absolutely true. We were performing at a comedy club together in Wisconsin, and it was kind of about the same size as the Comedy Attic, and I had to go to the bathroom before the show. And the men's room had one stall and one urinal, and I had to go number 2. And there was a guy ahead of me, though. He was walking into the stall, and I just go, ah! And this guy just stops and goes, oh, no, please, go ahead. Do you know how polite you have to be to risk shitting your pants for a stranger? That is creepily polite. So it's like, no, you go ahead. Like, I don't trust this anymore, man. Anyway, still was a fun time. Still was good. I met Kristen's mom. She also sent me home with a bunch of cheese. It was pretty dope. It's cool. How are we feeling about the cicadas at this point in our cicada journey? You're over it? She's shaking her head. Yeah, right? Isn't that? We start off like, oh, this is so cool, it's so amazing, and now we're like, shut the fuck up! I mean, it is dope that every single moment of my day is being scored by Trent Reznor. That's dope. Just ominous. Oh, fuck. My life is pretty mysterious. The sound of the cicadas is, that's the male cicada, it's the mating call. He's trying to find a female cicada. So what we're listening to is just, hey girl, hey girl, you look good girl, get over here girl, hey girl, get over here. Kilroys, we're fucking living in the middle of Kilroys. I hate it. Fully vaccinated, like I think that most of you guys are, or you're liars, you have your masks off. So let's see those papers. No. I'm fully vaxxed, and that is the only healthy thing about me. When I got the second shot, I'm like, I'm healthy. And then I saw my cholesterol, I'm like, fuck, all right. Safe from COVID, but not from my own poor life decisions. I don't know, we'll figure it out. We're coming out of the mask era. It was such an interesting time this past year. I applaud you if you wore your mask and you did your part, right? I did my part. I met actually several people this past year during the pandemic for the first time that I ever met them, and I was masked up and they were masked up, and now I've started to see them without the masks, and that's how I learned I'm an optimist. Yeah. They're not nearly as attractive as I assumed they were. Like, this seems to be the part of the face where it goes wrong for most of us. Like, if the eyes are the windows to the soul, this is the busted up cheap plastic Venetian blind of the soul, right? Your first apartment in college is windows of the soul, right? And I'm not throwing shade. I'm in the same boat, right? I have very pretty eyes, and then it gets bad quick, right? Like, I got hillbilly teeth. I have a very weak chin, which is immediately followed by a very strong second chin. You guys can still see it, right? It's like my second chin looked at my first chin and was like, don't even worry, bro, I got you. We giggle together, we jiggle together. Bad boys for life, all right? I wrote that whole joke just so I could say the phrase bad boys for life. By round of applause, who saw Bad Boys for Life? My two asshole friends, all right. I saw it. If you're not familiar, Bad Boys for Life is the third film in the Bad Boys cinematic universe. And this is, you're going to think I'm joking. The actual plot of the movie is Will Smith fucked a witch. That's the entire plot. Which seems odd for a movie about two cops from Miami, but that is the plot of the movie. This is absolutely true. Bad Boys for Life was the last film that I saw in the theaters before the pandemic. So did I have any regrets last year? Yeah, one. I had an $18 regret for sure. I don't know. Let's talk about this. I used to cover up my weak chin, devil chin situation with a beard. I had this big crazy hipster beard before the pandemic, right? Like a real indoor lumberjack look, you know. And it was good for hiding my chins, but it also caused its own problems. Like one day I got profiled at Menards. This old man just rolled up on me and goes, so what kind of shed are you building? Two important pieces of information. One, I had just walked in the store, right? I had no cart, no shed building materials. And two, he nailed it. I was building a shed. God damn it, Menards Nostradamus, how did you know? I see that beard. You're about ready to write your manifesto. Yeah, so I've been walking around for years with resting shed face, and I didn't even know it, you guys. I don't know if I'm going to grow it back, right? Because my beard now is entirely white because of the last few years of America. Huh? You guys were following along with the series? It gets dark. Yeah. And so I don't know if I want to have a big Santa beard, right? Because it makes me look older than I am, and by that I mean my age. So my vanity's kicking in, right? I'm 47 years old, and I'm noticing more and more generational things because I'm just becoming into an entire new part of my life, you know? For example, this was so weird to me. I recently had the distinct pleasure of showing two 20-year-olds how to write a check. Yeah. And at first I was like, you Gen Z trash, I cannot believe this. But then I realized, I'm not sure I remember how to write a check. Because I also live in this time, I didn't time travel here, right? You know? Once I realized that, my attitude changed immediately. I was just like, you know what, guys, let's Google it. Let's find out together. Oh, shit, you do have to spell it out. I remember that part now. Cool. It is weird easing back into society, right? And gatherings again after like a year of being like at home and isolated. I was thinking about this, man. The last show I did before the pandemic, I was up in Minnesota on the road, and we had a great show. It was just like this, sold out, 6,000 people. And it was a good show. We had a good time, and got invited to an after party, right? And this server was having an after party, and so then she invited not just everybody that worked there, but all the comics on the show too. And, you know, and like comics, when we have a good show, we like feel invincible. Like, yeah, after party, hell yeah, we're fucking doing it. We're going to this after party. So I go to this after party at this lady's house, and it is fucking packed full of people. Butts to nuts. As my grandmother used to say. She loved that phrase. She'd be like, this Cracker Barrel's butts to nuts today. It was like, well, we shouldn't come on a Sunday, church crowd, you know. So I'm at this after party, it's butts to nuts, okay? And fucking packed full of people. Music's bumping, it's about 1:30 in the morning. And across this really crowded room, I can see this guy who's way too old to be there. Just like visibly uncomfortable, not talking to anybody, just kind of creeping everyone out. And I was like, oh, fuck, that's a mirror. I gotta get out of this party, man. This is the kind of after party I would go to now. If someone came up to me at the show and was like, hey man, you going to the after party? I'd be like, I don't know, what is it? They're like, well, it's an all-night ice cream parlor with comfortable seating. And everyone gets to charge their phone. Hell yeah, dog, let me drop my Prilosec. Let's do this. That is how old I am. I have to take Prilosec every single day now. I have to take a pharmaceutical grade antacid every day. I'm so old I can no longer digest my own food. Okay. But it changes the way I approach life. Now that I take Prilosec every day, I'm like, let's do this. Midnight nachos, hell yes. What's that? 2-day-old pizza? Put it on the nachos. I'm invincible now, baby! Come on. I wrote that joke in my little joke notebook, and I wrote the words midnight nachos next to each other, and I fell in love. Like, that's as close as I've ever come to poetry, okay? I was like, midnight nachos. I love those two words next to each other. So much so that I think when I die, I want that on my headstone with no explanation. Just like my name, birth date, death date, midnight nachos. And then what I hope will happen is a few years after my death, the local urban legend will start to rise up, right? School children will start to sneak out of their houses in the middle of the night and place nachos on my grave. And then make a wish. That's the legacy I want. Oh, man. I am referring to notes. I apologize. It's not super professional, but it's been about a year since I've done comedy, and if I'm going to be honest, I'm a little bit high on a lot of Benadryl. Huh? Yeah. Allergies? Hell yeah, dog. You riding the pink dragon? All right. Yeah. Like, you know how let's party? Let's get sleepy. Like Kristen, I'm a sober comic. I've got 7 years sobriety, but thank you very much. Don't applaud yet. That's my one loophole. Benadryl's my one loophole, right? Because I'm not going to lie, I take one for my allergies and one for me. That's how I get faded these days. It is interesting being sober and talking about it on stage sometimes. Other people come up tell their story, their sobriety story, and it's interesting. I have discovered there are some people that call themselves sober because they just stopped drinking, but they still like smoke weed all the time. They do coke on the weekends. I'm like, I'm not sure. We need to come up with a new phrase, I guess. That's like if I said I was a pacifist because I only use a knife. You know, just like, no, it's my anniversary, 1 year, no guns. I'm a pacifist, baby. Stab, stab, stab. Interesting. The weirdest thing happened when I got sober, I gained 45 pounds because I replaced alcohol with milkshakes. Because when you get sober, your body craves the sugar that's in alcohol, and psychologically, going out for a milkshake is kind of like going to the bar, you know? So every day at 4 o'clock, I would go to Steak and Shake. And I'd have myself a milkshake, sometimes 2 if it's a bad day, you know? I was just getting so it was nothing but bad days. It was 2 milkshakes every day. 2 milkshakes, a lot of sugar on an empty stomach, so I get a cheeseburger and fries while I was there. You know? Ooh, I like chicken tenders. Let's get a basket of those too. Every single day for 3.5 weeks, 2 milkshakes, cheeseburger, French fries, basket of chicken fingers, 3.5 weeks. So finally, Emilio, the 16-year-old kid that worked there that was usually my server, he just plopped down in the booth with me one day and looked around and said, I could probably get fired for saying this, but I don't think this is good. I didn't know how to tell this child that this was my healthy choice. How dark do I want to make this kid's world? I never had an intervention for my drinking, but I had a milkshake intervention. It still hurt. Still learned a lot about myself. Oh, man. That's good. I like it. Let's talk about some other stuff. Man, the pandemic is crazy. As we're coming out of it, I've been looking back, trying to remember what it was like when the pandemic first came in. I was on the road in Minnesota. Lockdown happened. I went to my sister lives in Minnesota, so I just drove to her house, hung out for like a week till we could kind of see what's what. And then I drove back down to Bloomington, and and then I didn't leave. It's crazy. The thing that I remember most is like how quickly, when the pandemic started and the lockdown happened, how quickly the advertisers rolled out ads that were specific to the pandemic. Do you remember this? Like within days, they had commercials on about, you guys, I don't know if you can remember this old tune, sing along if you do, We're All in This Together. You guys know this one? Remember that jam that they ran into the ground? Every commercial, we're all in this together, we're all in this together. That was right up until the toilet paper shortage. Then suddenly I was like, I guess every butthole's in it for themselves. Okay. My favorite of the pandemic ads, they still run these, is the pizza places bragging about their contactless delivery. They will not shut the fuck up about contactless delivery. They talk about contactless delivery so much that, before the pandemic, they were just finger blasting your pizza, guys. Yeah. 2 knuckles deep into that deep dish every goddamn time, all right? Every pizza delivery, prom night for the driver, all right? I'll put it this way. Every pizza you ever ate in your life before the pandemic was a young Reese Witherspoon in the movie Fear on the roller coaster. And that delivery driver was Mark Wahlberg giving her the business. That's a very specific fingering joke, all right? I like to do jokes you have to go to IMDb to look up later. I have realized this too. Fingering is the most accurately named sex act of all time. Like blowjob, there's a lot of interpretation in all of them except for fingering. It's basically the instructions, the name for it. Okay, is that too much fingering material? All right, we'll move on. Talk about this. My brother is older than I am, and it's been like that our whole lives because we're pretty traditional. And we'll just do it in order. It's fine. My brother turned 50 last year, and at the age of 50, joined social media. In 2020, my brother decided, now's the time to join social media. I feel like most of us joined social media in the same way that we started smoking, right? We're young, we didn't realize how dangerous it was. Then we're addicted, we're kind of like stuck, He was 50. joining social media in 2020 is like walking down the street and seeing a restaurant on fire and being like, that looks nice, let's try that. I hope that he has fun with it. I have such a love-hate relationship with social media. It drives me crazy. Particularly clickbait. I cannot stand clickbait. It sets me off, right? It's like, you'll never believe what's in your salad that's killing you. Just fucking tell me. Don't make me click like 30 pages of ads and be like, oh, radishes, fine, I don't eat those. I saw this clickbait, and I'm not proud of how I reacted, but it just came out of me. It said, 22 things that you never knew about the X-Men. And the way I reacted was go, you don't know me, Internet! And then like 30 seconds later, I'm like, oh my God, I never knew that. Wolverine's allergic to lavender, who knew? I keep hoping that one day I'll do that joke, and there's a hardcore comic book nerd in the audience who gets offended and goes, no, he's not. I will just drop the mic and walk off stage like, nice. Mission accomplished. I can retire from comedy now. My friend Dee says I should try CBD oil for my internet rage, right? My short temper. But she's also a CBD oil true believer. She thinks you should use it for everything, you know? She's like, it's amazing. It helped with my anxiety, it cleared up my complexion. I put 3 drops on my tongue. I can speak Portuguese for a week. It's amazing. And she will not leave me alone about it. She's constantly like, have you tried it? You've got to try it. Please just try it. I've got a coupon. Do you want to try it? I've got some in my purse. Would you like to try it? And now, I will never try it. Because she came too hard and fast, right? She came at me like a used car salesman. You know, and I don't like that. I have a bad reaction. I push back, right? That defiant streak. It's not healthy, but it's part of who I am. I guarantee if I'd been alive 100 years ago, I probably would have said this sentence. Oh, really? Miracle drug? Penicillin? I don't think so. Nah, dog, my syphilis is who I am. That is a historical joke. About the time I had syphilis. All right, moving on. It's fine. You guys are the first crowd to really like that joke. All weekend. All the other shows, more of an HPV crowd. Inside tip, every crowd is an HPV crowd. We've all got it. Thank you for laughing also, because as I'm telling that joke this weekend, as we're coming out of the pandemic, I was like, does this make me seem like an anti-vaxxer? Guys, I just want to do some material about QAnon and how right they are now. I am getting to the age where I need to figure out what kind of old man I want to be, right? I'm 47, it's coming up, I want to plan for it. I don't want to just like wind up one day in the park feeding a squirrel and be like, oh fuck, this is the kind I am, I guess. You know? Like I didn't plan this out, you know? I have saw some role models that are a good idea, I think. My wife and I were coming back from vacation recently to the Smoky Mountains, and it's late and we're hungry, and we're like, oh, just stop, let's get something to eat. And we walk into this restaurant, and we're immediately greeted by these 4 old men standing at a table, kind of right next to the front door, and they just go, oh, hi, how you all doing? We all want some pizza. We got way too much pizza. You want some of our pizza? And we're like, oh, that's very nice of you, but no thank you. So we go and order our food, and we sit down, and we watch them offer every single person that comes in pizza, right? Which is awesome, because we were in a Wendy's. These old fuckers ordered Little Caesars to the Wendy's, ate it in the Wendy's, offered it to potential Wendy's customers, and the Wendy's employees looked at it and said, not worth it. No, fuck it. You know, that's the kind of gangster I want to be when I get older. Like, I like doing comedy because you have friends of all different backgrounds, and like we're all drawn together because of this thing that we love, but you come from different places, and I have a lot of comic friends that are different ages than I am, single, married, divorced, stuff like that, firemen occasionally. Sorry, just like, they're just like, we've had enough of these cicadas, let's go. We're gonna clean up this town. But the thing with comics is when we're off stage, we talk just like we do on stage. We get into some real nitty-gritty shit when we talk, right, with each other. From talking to all my comic friends, I've come up with a theory, and I want to see if you guys think this is correct. I think that every straight man, on some level, wishes that he could sleep with most of the women that he meets. And I feel like most women wish they'd never met most of the men they've slept with. That seems to be so. Okay, we've got some agreement here and some uncomfortable gentlemen. All right. Cool, all right. That's it. That's no joke. That's just some science research I'm doing. Thanks for validating. I'll write you guys up in the paper. It's fine. I am a married guy, I like it. It saved my life this year because I was a comedian, and that's all I did for 10 years was travel around and tell jokes, and then pandemic hit, and then poof, no more work, right? My wife has a regular job, thank God, and it's the kind of job she could keep doing during the pandemic. She just had to start working remotely, right? She brought all of her computer shit home. She was working all day from her house, and she has the type of job where she's on video conference calls all day long, 8 hours a day, right? Co-workers, clients, all that stuff. It's about 6 weeks into her working 8 hours a day on video conference calls before I realized that if you were on a video call with her, you would see her in the foreground, and then over her shoulder, you could see the door to our bathroom. 6 weeks before I realized this, right? Now, I'm very happy to say that none of my wife's coworkers have seen my dick. Okay, guys? Unless they subscribe to my OnlyFans. But, in which case they've earned it, But what they have seen is they have seen me use the bathroom like 5 times within an hour, right? Because I'm getting older, I stay up late, do a lot of stress eating, get up early, drink a lot of coffee. Everybody on board? All right? I go to the bathroom a lot. I'm surprised we made an entire year of this without her getting an email from the HR department that just said, hey, whatever your husband has, our plan doesn't cover it. Good luck with it, but yeah. Oh, man. I was on unemployment for a few months, and then that ran out, and I was also just getting a little stir-crazy, so I went and got a job. I've been doing comedy for 10 years, and then I went and got an actual job with human being coworkers. My coworkers for the last 10 years were the freaks that you saw up here earlier, okay? Yeah, I don't know if you know this, most workplaces don't talk about, fucking the hip out of somebody, all right? I guess unless you work in the restaurant industry, and then it's probably pretty common. But I had an office job with normal human being coworkers, and it was an adjustment. And so the second day at my job, I just made a note for myself that I put on my monitor, and it just said, your coworkers do not have the same sense of humor as you. They will not find it endearing or hilarious. 2 days later, I just changed it to a post-it note that just says, don't. That's all it says. It's still on my monitor. Every time I start to think, hey guys, it's fun. Never mind, thank you. I got a job at an after-school center for kids. And during the pandemic, we did a lot of e-learning for the kids that were out of school. And it's cool. And I've been there now for 9 months. And I'm not trying to brag or anything, but honestly, I would take a bullet for some of those kids. Some being the key word there. If you're not laughing, you've never worked with a lot of kids before. If we're going to be honest, not every child is bullet material. Right? I still show up and do the job. I treat them the same. I treat them fair, right? But some of them it's just instinct, and others it's work, Like some of the kids run into traffic, I don't even think about it. Boom, I'm right after them, Other kids run into traffic, I'm like, oh, fuck, all right. A lot of paperwork if you get hit by a car. You guys got real tight on this potential child neglect joke. I do the job, guys, it's fun. My favorite kid, I love this kid. He's super funny and just, he's such a beautiful weirdo. But he's also a sticky kid. Just always sticky. For no goddamn reason. It's the kind of sticky you can see it from across the room, like, fuck, he's sticky again. I'm pretty sure he's half salamander. But I love him, he's super funny. His group, they did a service project where they were writing letters to people living in retirement communities, and it did not go well. Most of the letters were like, sorry you're old. Get well soon. We're like, this is not the tone we're going for. I did have this happen a couple weeks ago at the job. I accidentally called one of my black coworkers by another black coworker's name, right? So I quit. I'm a good white liberal, I know what to do. I'm like, no need to get HR involved, I'll leave, it's fine. I did not quit, but what I have done is every single day since then, I have on purpose gotten one of my white coworkers' names wrong, right? Just to cover my trail a little bit. I'm like, oh, hey, what's up, Bob? Shit, sorry, Maria. Bad at names. Oh, excuse me, I gotta answer the stapler. I mean telephone. I try to be a good ally, right? I think if you try to be a good ally, that shit just gets to your core, right? You make a simple mistake, and then you're like, oh, fuck, am I my dad? Right? Try to do the work, I marched last year. I donate to the right causes. I'm in my second interracial marriage. I do the work, guys. And I can't tell if you're tightening up or just doing math, okay? The check drop. The check drop's not the best time to get into the sensitive race material. But we're going to do it anyway. Here we go. By a round of applause, applaud if you went to a Black Lives Matter protest last year. Should be higher. Okay. It was hard to go. It was a pandemic and everything, but you got to show up for what you believe in. I love going to the marches. I'm originally from outside Louisville, and I spent a lot of time there last year with my mom. And so I went to some marches there, which shit was popping off in Louisville last year. It was scary as fuck, but you had to show up. And I also came to the Bloomington ones. And the Bloomington ones had a very different vibe. Like, I went to the Bloomington one, and I'm standing there, and they're giving speeches, and I look over, and there's 2 witches. And they had a sign, Witches for Black Lives, right? And they're in full-on witch attire. And I'm just like, hell yeah, right? And some of the other people are like, oh, fucking Bloomington, right? Like, but if you're here, who's running the Hot Topic? You know, they're doing that shit. But I was down with the witches. I was like, fuck yeah, these people are showing up. They're being their true selves, right? And also, I'm okay with witchcraft, right? Like, let me ask you, what sounds more fun? Like a midnight bonfire with your friends or Sunday school? Which of those? No sandwiches. I definitely learned something. If you ever go to another Black Lives Matter protest or whatever, and you're wondering when's the right time to leave, it's when the white people start speaking. Yeah, like the show is officially over and some hippie has gotten up there to make his point, right? Yeah, I know you guys are gonna be real uncomfortable, but you need to hear this. Maybe not. Maybe one person laughing. But, there's always a march after the protest. You rally, you protest, you hear the speakers, you get worked up, and then there's the march, right? And the way I decide on whether or not I'm going to go on the march is the march going in the direction of where I parked? Then yes, I'll go. Couple of blocks, sure. I'm all the way there. I went on a full march one time in Bloomington, and it was great. And people are chanting. We're going down Kirkwood, we're blocking traffic. They're like, get out of the bars, get into the streets, get out of the bars, get out into the streets. And then a couple people came out of killer words. I'm like, let's rethink this. This is who we want. It's not my cause, though. I can't decide. My favorite thing that happened was we went past the police station on 3rd Street. 2 people ran up to the doors of the police station and started twerking on the doors. I was like, that is a hell of a gangster way to get arrested. Like, the ass was too dangerous. We had to arrest him. Okay, we'll stop talking about this shit. You guys are not having it. I did love something that happened during last summer's protest. It's the best thing I've ever seen in my 47 years on this planet. And that is when people started yanking down Confederate statues. Loved it. Not signing petitions, just like, fuck it, get a chain, right? It's amazing. I think Confederate statues should all be removed. They have no business in the United States. Thank you very much. Thank you, 2 people. Thank you. Sign my petition. No. Fuck it, let's go get a chain. All right. We don't have Confederate statues, so I'm sorry, Captain Janeway, you got to go. All right. She was a white imperialist in a way. You don't need to go to that end of the universe, bitch. All right. I am such a Star Trek fan, and it's hurting me to say those words, but I'll do it for comedy. No, I loved it. I think all the Confederate statues should be removed from U.S. soil, right? Get rid of them. Throw them in the ocean, get rid of them. But I thought about it more, and that's a bad plan, right? You can't put all these Confederate statues in the ocean, because if you do, eventually, you're going to get racist sea life. Right? Like a whole school of Ku Klux Klan fish swimming around. Like coming up wondering, why isn't there a whitefish history month, It's halibut, not hate. Bunch of shit like that. 2 more? Okay. All lives mackerel. We don't need that, right? We don't need In honor of my brothers and sisters in June Pride Month, God hates rainbow trout. All right. I try to be a good lefty. There's some people that are too far to the left, right? Like, it's just like, we have our crazies too on the left. I was in Portland, Oregon. Very liberal place. Are you from Portland?
She is, right?
All right, cool. Well, thank your boyfriend or husband there for throwing you right under the bus. Because I'm about to shit on it. This happened twice. I was in Portland for a week doing shows, and 2 times during a show, I would mention on stage that I'm in an interracial marriage, and a predominantly white audience would woo. Which is creepy. Because it means, A, they think my marriage is like a political statement, and B, I know exactly what kind of porn they're watching, right? They're like, yeah, get it, white boy, It was so bad after one of the shows, this white woman with dreads came up to me, shook my hand, and thanked me for my service. I was like, this It's too far for most of this audience. Okay. The plow ahead, nevertheless, he persisted. All right. This is a better example. I met up with my friend Dagan, who lives out there, for dinner one night. We went to this Thai restaurant, and I ordered way too much food, right? The servings were way bigger than I expected. So I had an entire untouched order of Thai-style chicken wings. I'm walking back to my rental car when a homeless person asked me for money. And I said, I don't have any money on me, but if you're hungry, I've got chicken wings from that Thai restaurant. And then they said, whoa, 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 which Thai restaurant? So I said the name of it, and they said, no, that place is owned by a white guy. I don't do cultural appropriation. Beggars can be choosers. Cool. All right. Like, I didn't know leftovers could be problematic, right? She said that to my face, and I was like, well, fuck, now I'm a Republican. Right? You can't, like, this is how it happens, right? I was too. You guys are not going to like this. I was Republican for like 2-3 weeks after that. If you've not done it, try it for a little bit. Being a Republican, it's dope, man. Only caring about yourself, it's easy. If you are a Republican and you're getting upset, it's a joke. Clearly, you also care about guns. And you got layers. You got depths. That's right. What should we talk about? We'll do a few more and get out of here. I am looking forward to traveling again. I know that's coming back. That was my favorite part of comedy. I liked it. I'm getting ready to go to Colorado again in September. I love Colorado. It's such a cool place to go to. Great comedy scene, but also just culturally it's so interesting in Colorado because they've had legal weed for so long that they now have weed tourism, right? It's an amazing industry. And it's built entirely around people coming from other states and overdoing it. That's the entire bedrock of that industry. I saw it firsthand because I was eating in a Mexican restaurant in downtown Denver, and I got sat next to this very nice couple from Utah who were having their first outing on edibles. And they had overshot a bit. The server brought them their tacos, and the lady just goes, "Oh no! How do we even do this?" If you are too high for tacos, you are too high. That is a stoner gift of the Magi situation. Thank you for applauding my elementary literary aspirations. Thank you. The server is so used to it, she's just like, God damn it, and just left. She's like, I do this every day. They were so high they had to watch me eat tacos to figure out how to eat tacos. And of course, comedian, so I fucked with them, right? I just bit in the middle like a sandwich. I was like, yeah, tacos, one bite and then it's on your lap. Tacos, you guys remember tacos, right? They were nice. I got to do something super cool that last time I was there. I hope I do it again. They do a monthly show there called Lucha Libre, which is a combination of stand-up comedy and professional wrestling. 10 minutes comedy sets, then a wrestling match, back and forth, back and forth. It's super awesome. And because of that show, the next day, I got to go to an art museum with a professional wrestler, which I highly recommend. If you are a wrestling fan and you're wondering if it's anybody that you've heard of, it's nobody famous, right? Nobody knows who this guy is. He's an unknown wrestler. He just pays his bills wrestling. He's like the me of wrestling, right? Like right now he's wrestling for 28 people that wish he'd wrap it the fuck up, right? But he was a nice guy. We hit it off, and I love going to museums, so I took him with me to the museum the next day, and I'm so glad I did because he was constantly just saying things like, bro, this one rips! Yes, this mayonnaise does rip. Good eye, good eye. My favorite thing, I kind of wandered away from him for a second, and I came back, and he was just staring at something, and he was just like, I mean, I'm not smart, I don't know art or anything, but I mean, it's just like the number 3. What do you think it means? I was like, I think it means we're on the 3rd floor. Elevator's right there, dude. To be fair, he does get dropped on his head for a living, so there is that. And he was also pretty high, so. I learned something about myself on that trip. I had a rental car that time. I didn't drive out. I flew out to Denver, had a rental car. I was driving around the state doing shows. I was on my way up to Boulder to do a show in my rental car when a Limp Bizkit song came on. And I turned it up. Which I would never do in my own car. I respect my car, okay? My car is like NPR, underground hip hop, and punk rock, right? but in a rental car where nobody knows me. I'm like, fuck it, windows down, nookie up. You grew up in a trailer, let's go back for 4 minutes. Right? I've been going to Colorado enough that I've got some Colorado friends out there, a lot of hippies, big hippie culture out there. It's never my thing. I grew up in punk rock and then got into hip hop, but I have nothing against the hippies, just not my thing, right? I have started to adopt some of their belief system though, right? I now do believe in the power of crystals, right? I believe in crystals. I think crystals can help you with severe depression. And the way that they help is that you buy as many crystals as you can, and you fill the pockets of your heaviest winter coat. And you just walk into the river. Depression solved, right? I like an audience that's not afraid of a Virginia Woolf reference. You guys got there real early on that joke. Heading to Texas too, a little bit later in the year. It's such a bizarre place. Round of applause if you've ever been to Texas. Follow-up question. Round of applause if it was not Austin. I got your number, Bloomington. I know what you're all about. I know. Rebecca goes to H-Town. I know. It's like, I go all over Texas. I play all the major cities, but Texas is fucking ginormous, right? It's huge. And so when you're driving between cities, it's a lot of nothingness, except you will see occasionally in the middle of nowhere alongside a highway a cowboy church. Yes, it's just a giant pole barn building, and in black letters it just says Cowboy Church. And then usually they have the same artwork, not always, but most of the time they have a silhouette of a horse standing, and in front of the horse there is a silhouette of a cowboy who's dismounted, and he's kneeling in front of the cross. I've never had time to go to one, but I really would to. I just want to see how far they take the theme, right? Like you open the door, and like there's a painting of Jesus, but he's rocking a Stetson. Like, they pass around communion instead of a wafer, it's Texas toast. Damn, Jesus is filling. All right. Preacher gets up there to give the sermon. He's like, lo, and then Jesus took his rope and wrapped it around Lazarus and said, get on out that tomb, little doggy, come on now. And that, everybody, is where we get the word lasso from, huh? Lazarus, lasso, Lazarus, lasso. Nobody likes that pun at the end of the joke. God damn it. Okay. It's fine. The most interesting part to me that is the artwork, though, right? That I described. Because the horse, not kneeling. Right? That's because I think horses are Buddhists. I didn't spend much time around a horse. They're pretty zen, they're pretty chill, right? You know, definitely not Christian, right? My friend said, well, you don't know that. Maybe he's Jewish. Maybe the horses are Jewish. No. Horses are uncircumcised. Which I think we can all be thankful for. Look, I don't want to tell you how to live your life, but if you ever see a circumcised horse, fucking run, okay? You're on the island of Dr. Moreau, all right? I haven't done that part of the joke in a long time, and that is why. All right. You guys have had a lot of fun. We'll get you out of here in a minute. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it.